Can you imagine being able to plan for what's going to happen to you in the future? I'm talking here about being able to see the future before it happens. Not about magic, not about crystal ball, about planning in your head how the day or the week ahead is going to bring to you. Today's episode is really exciting for me because it's an idea that I have put in place before, and I wanted to share the experience I had with it for anyone who might be willing to try. I'm talking about visualization and how that can help people with ASD and also other people with different neurodiversities. How visualization is a simple tool to extract more potential from the days and weeks ahead of you. Let's go for it. Hi everyone, welcome to ASD is Ability. I'm grateful for all of you that listen and download this podcast. I'm aware there are plenty of options out there, so I'm very happy to hear that you decide to listen what I have to say. If this is the first time you listen to this podcast, welcome, and I'm very glad you are joining me. Today I'm going to cover visualization in the context of someone who has ASD. You might have heard before that if we spend time meditating and visualizing our possible future, there are more chances that that future will happen. Now, you might think that that's magic, and that's perfectly fine, and I never thought much about it. Recently, I have started looking into visualization, particularly before I go to sleep. So rather than, as some people do, read a book or watch something on the telly and then remember that when going to sleep, I consciously meditate, embed visualizations, and imagining how the next day and the next week and months will go. I pick one goal in mind and then I have it in my mind. One that I have done recently is about my recent book, Captivate to Thrive, that was published last week. I imagine myself just talking about it, getting people interested about it, and just getting that connection regarding the book. I use visuals in terms of the cover of the book and then the sensation that I get and the reward associated with. This week happened something which was really amazing. I was invited to attend the Groucho Club, one of the private members club in central London. Whilst I was waiting there for my host, there were a couple of people there that they were just about to leave the club. And I overheard one of them saying, "Oh yeah, next time we have the book club, come along and yeah, we can discuss." And it's a really good fun. As a person with ASD, I'm very introvert. And I wonder what could I do? I knew that they had a book club that could be interesting for me to show my book and for them to discuss with me. At the same time, I thought that's very private and how I'm gonna break into strangers and share that. And you might have had the same experience before. So even if you don't have ASD and you had that thought, someone with ASD will have even more apprehension about doing that. What I did was jumped into the pool and just go straight to them, thinking there's nothing to lose and remembering my visualization that I had about the book. I approached them and said, "Excuse me, you were mentioning about the book club. Is that fictional or non-fictional?" And I was mesmerized about the answer because they say, oh, no, it's non-fictional. Actually, it's about self-development, about processes, how to make things happen. And that's exactly what's the theme of the book that I published last week. Exactly that one. So I shared the details with them. They were very interested. They took a QR code of my book, and I will wait to hear from them. They will be reaching out through the social media. When I reflect about that, I take two elements that I want to share with any of you that have ASD or anyone else who knows someone with ASD. First of all, it takes courage to approach someone you don't know, especially with someone with ASD. And like everything in life, practice makes perfection. So I prepare myself. I went with very low expectations, and I prepare myself to present. And I made extra effort to make sure my face was not too rigid, my voice was not too contrived. Things that for someone with ASD is quite common to happen because we get stress when there's emotions involved in a conversation, when we concentrate all our effort in what we are going to say and not how we look like. So I put that aspect to consciously make sure that was happening. And then I looked to relax, thinking there's nothing to lose here. And the delivery went well. I was very well received, and I was very, very happy to know that they were interested in my book, and that would get. And the second element to take is I was able to do that because I have been practicing visualization. In my visualization, I imagine talking to people, presenting in as a public speaker, presenting the book, etc. So somehow in the back of my mind, something clicked to make me think this is something you have seen happening successfully. And that for someone with ASD can be a really magical tool because we don't know what's the outcome of our interaction with people. And neurotypicals and other neurodiversities might find it very easy to start a conversation with a stranger and share a point of view, have a laugh, and have a conversation. That's very difficult for us, people with ASD. Being able to do it was truly transformational. And my recommendation in today's episode is to consider visualization as a way to prepare yourself for the future you have ahead, particularly if you have ASD. And if you don't, it also seems to work. At least it worked for me. I will be very keen to hear from any comments anyone has, and you can reach out through the platforms where you are listening, Podbean, Spotify, or through the direct social media at Midlife Crasher with your comments, direct messages, etc. That's what makes this podcast to really go forward. Before I close the episode today, I also wanted to share that I'm gonna be looking to have guests in my podcast. And you might think a lot of people do that, and yeah, maybe it was about time. I was getting a bit bored of your voice all the time, which is fine. And the reason why I haven't had guests is because inviting people with ASD is difficult because we are very reserved. Unlike other kinds of neurodiversity where people are very open and very extrovert, People with ASD are very introvert, are very conscious about how they sound, how they are perceived, etc. So finding guests is difficult. Therefore, I have changed my approach to the guests to be any kind of person out there. Because really, the podcast I'm sharing with you is my experience with ASD, is relevant for people with ASD, and also people interacting with people with ASD. So why not have guests that can share their point of view? We can look at experiences and we can exchange how each of us see it in a different way. And some things that for some people are very difficult, we might say, actually, for someone with ASD, that's very straightforward, actually satisfying to do, and the other way around. I'm looking for that section of my podcast to be insightful, entertaining, and enlightening in terms of how neurodiversity makes us wealthier in terms of who we are and how others see us. So if you want to join as a guest or you know someone, please reach out through the social media at Midlife Crasher. Make comments on Podbean or Spotify, and I look forward to that. So without any delay, look forward for next time we exchange views and have a great time. Take care.